Zach's free recipe guide. I'm giving away a recipe today. Homemade real honey syrup. Yes. And it can be adapted to make the best maple syrup. Now, my recipe, usually I forage and go get fresh honey. It's very simple. Just light a fire, very smoky fire near the beehive, tape some cardboard up on your arms, legs, and chest, put on a mask, something that they can't quite sting you too good. It doesn't have to be perfect, just like the Himalayan guys. Get into that hive, grab some honey, leave. Now you only need a half a cup of honey. In this case, I made this with a gifted honey. It only was about, I don't know, 6 ounces, I believe. 6 ounces of real honey they gave me. Very small jar. But real honey. Now, how the hell did I turn that into this much honey? Because I used Zach's recipe guide, my own homemade recipe guide. So when I lived in the woods, I found a couple beehives, and I actually did that. I wrapped up and took their honey. And it wasn't too fun. And I had to go really far away to actually squish it. And I did have to wash my hands in the brook. Was planning on that. But in this case, you take the honey, you put it in the bottle. Now, the secret to my recipe is I use simple syrup. I get what they call less processed sugar. So that's just plain raw cane sugar. That's the brown sugar. You want to make sure, well, not brown sugar, sorry, it's brown, a little lightly brown colored, but it's just sugar that hasn't been bleached white. You want to get regular, less processed sugar, so it has like a golden, some people call it golden sugar. You get that, you put it in a pan and turn your pan on medium to high heat. Now make sure you do a 40-60 ratio, water the sugar. I usually do tablespoons at a time. Now it always is going to be thin, so you want to measure out the ratio ahead of time. As you heat this up, add your honey. Mix it all up, and then pour it back in the bottle. And what you have then is the best honey other than 100% raw honey. The reason why it's so good is when you buy honey at any store, you'll notice that it's been adulterated, blended with corn syrup. Corn syrup, honey, honey with a little corn syrup, honey, honey with a little corn syrup. You'll see that everywhere. But you know what's better than honey with corn syrup? Simple syrup with honey. Because when you make simple syrup out of golden sugar, it picks up the color, texture, and flavor of honey, even if you don't add in honey. So simple syrup, when you make it out of the golden sugar, has a little bit of a honey flavor, and it's just regular plant sugar. It's not some processed corn syrup. Sugar's been around for 300 years. This raw sugar has been used by many generations. It's way better than corn syrup to make honey with. It's also cheap and available. Way cheaper than corn syrup, believe it or not, at the grocery store. You can get enough golden sugar to make a shitload of bottles this size. I can make 2 bottles of simple syrup this size, meaning that if I get 8 ounces of honey, I can make 2 giant bottles of honey, and it will taste exactly like pure honey. And as long as the ratio is more than the grocery store, but most of the time those corn syrup honeys are artificially flavored, or they only have a drop for every 1,000 drops of corn syrup. So do this at home. You see a beehive, if you collect even 2 ounces of that honey, you then can turn that into something like 22 ounces of honey if you do really hard work with the simple syrup and mix it all up. But you also can make simple syrup rock candy, when I made a new mistake with this one. So in this bottle, I had the honey sitting to about around there. When I put the hot simple syrup, actually it was warm, not hot, into the bottle, I was planning on just heating the whole bottle up and just shaking it, but it fell out of solution. What I learned was that even when warm, if the simple syrup or honey is a little warm, and the honey or simple syrup at the bottom is cool, it will fall out of solution. The water molecules, which are very few in numbers, will bond with the cooler molecules in the bottle, making that seem more liquidy and more flowing. But all the sugar or honey that you drop that's warm or hot will actually instantly turn into rock candy. I got a giant rock candy cool shape in the middle. It was very clearly rock candy. I even tried to pull it out the neck and it was solid, one solid rock candy piece. And I said, wow, that's interesting. So if I take a bowl of cool honey or cool simple syrup, and then I pour boiling hot simple syrup on the top, it will fall out of solution and give me a bunch of rock candy wherever I drop it. Oh, that's cool. I got to remember that. I can make mini rock candies for everybody. So yeah, I found a new way to make honey rock candy. So that's kind of cool, right? Just take simple syrup that's hot and pour it in simple syrup that's cold and then pick out the rock candy. Man, that takes 5 seconds too. It's so easy. So easy a caveman could do it. And if you still want it to go back to simple syrup, it's going to take you 3 hours of shaking and mixing because you got to get that rock candy back into solution. And with so little water, it's really difficult because you got to remember you're surrounding like 20 sugar molecules of cellulose around one H2O molecule. Because the ratio in this bottle is about 70-75 to either 30-25. That's the ratio I ended with. I did add about 5% of water at the end to the neck. So that's why I'm saying it's a little off, because it was supposed to be about 70-30, but then I added about a little tiny drop of water to the neck at the end to try to get some more sugar out of solution. In the solution. And now it's all, as you can see, in the solution. It's clear now. And it flows like honey, as you can see. Oh man, I hurt. I'm getting thrown out, by the way. I'm going to be living outside with this honey. That will be from my outside teapot, but I'm dying soon. There's nothing I can do. I can't live. If I was allowed to work, then maybe. But no, I have a job. I'm not allowed to go back to it. Even if my GI and kidneys get documented by a doctor, I still need my neurological disorder paperwork. I can't fall down at work. This is fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous that my father won't take responsibility for his action and puts another human being through this shit. It's not like I get a choice in the matter. I've gone to the doctors, I've gone to Social Security, and I've gone to everybody. And every time it's very clear what the problem is. My mother's dead. She was making up fantasies about my illnesses. My father went along with it, and now my father is trying to let it go. He wants me just to die in the woods so he doesn't have to deal with it. And that's the real problem. As long as that's happening, I'm not allowed to work, collect Social Security, use a shelter, or anything. Because my disability is not going to disappear. It's a permanent disability. I've had it for 25 years. It will be here tomorrow, the next day, and the next day.